So Dennis the Menace signed a one-year contract with the Boston Celtics. We're going to be talking about that, as well as Luka signed a supermax deal with the Dallas Mavericks. So back to Dennis. Dennis signed a one-year contract with the Boston Celtics. Now, Dennis is a prime example of believing in yourself, believing that the market is going to be very favorable to you. Now, there were rumors and reports out there that Dennis was the Lakers were willing to sign Dennis to an $84 million contract. Dennis turned that down. He felt like the market was going to give him $100 million, and he wanted a $100 million contract. The Lakers thought that was a little bit too rich for their blood. They tried to trade him to other teams, but they couldn't get Dennis to agree with that team, to the teams that they was thinking about trading him to, as far as signing him to a long-term extension, a $100 million contract, because that's what Dennis was looking for. So Dennis said, I'll see you guys in free agency. I'm just going to exercise my my free agency, and I'm willing to sign with wherever team. Now, there were reports out there that suggest that the Knicks were probably interested in Dennis. They was willing to give him a $100 million contract. And when free agency started, all the teams that were looking that had holes in their starting point guard position, were already filled. The New York Knickerbockers has chosen Kemba Walker to be their point guard for the New York Knicks. And when all those positions are filled, and particularly the teams that had the most cap space to pay Dennis that type of money, which wasn't really that many teams to begin with, he couldn't go back to the Los Angeles Lakers and say, hey guys, remember that $84 million contract that you had on the table? Well, I thought about it, and let me go ahead and sign that contract. That contract is null and void. They already made a trade to get Russell Westbrook, so they don't, even if they wanted to, they couldn't sign Dennis to that $84 million contract. So now Dennis now he's going to the Boston Celtics, signing a one-year deal there. Now, I know Dennis and his agent is going to talk about, well, we just got to prove our worth once again, like we did with the Los Angeles Lakers. And next free agency, we'll try this at the negotiating table again to get a $100 million contract. They're going to tell you all this. They're also going to be telling you, well, the contract that he signed with the Boston Celtics, he would probably have been making that type of money if he would have signed the $100 million contract with the New York Knicks, or the $84 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, they're going to save face and say, everything's all good. We're just going to bet on ourselves next free agency, and we're still searching for that $100 million contract. Dennis is the prime example of somebody betting on themselves, and when it doesn't pay off, they got egg on their face. Similar to Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell could have signed a max contract with the Charlotte Hornets. He betted on himself that he was going to have a very productive year with the Los Angeles Lakers. Signed a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. The second year was a player option, which really was a 1-year deal. And if he would have had a very productive season, then he could have went into free agency and gotten that money back. And it blew up in his face. Now he's traded to the Sacramento Kings. He exercised that second year, and he's betting on himself once again for free agency next year, similar to what Dennis is preparing himself for next year as well. This is the prime example, and I keep telling people always throw this player empowerment. LeBron James ushered in player empowerment. And player empowerment has been in the NBA for a long, long, long time, way before LeBron James, Michael Jordan, etc., etc. Now, I'm just going to go as far as, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know Magic Johnson. Seems like people seem to forget Magic Johnson got a coach fired And that's due to player empowerment. Player empowerment has been in the league for a long period of time, and it's not really going anywhere. It only affects 5 to 2% of the NBA population, meaning there's only a few superstars that have that capability that can exercise that option of player empowerment. Not all the players in the league have player empowerment. All right, so let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Dennis was, feeling himself, and he felt like he had a little player empowerment where he can dictate where he wants to go, who's going to pay him, yada, yada, yada. And now he's got egg on his face, and he's going to have to bet on himself once again to see if someone's willing to give him max money. Two things I'm going to predict in my video that I think I'm about 80% sure is going to happen. He's going to play for Boston. He's going to have a decent year, but his production is not going to equate to $100 million contract. I feel like next year, a lot of these owners that was throwing money fast, blowing money fast on a lot of these players this year, I feel like the teams that are left standing, they're probably going to be cautious, and they're probably not going to spend as much money in free agency like it happened this free agency, okay? So your window of opportunity of getting a max contract, particularly ridiculous money, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroder, you could have gotten that and exercised that option this year. Okay, I don't think it's going to happen next year. I think a lot of these teams are going to play it safe. They're not going to spend a whole lot of money, and the teams that are willing to spend a whole lot of money won't even have the cap space nor the finances. Okay, I'm just predicting that. I just think next free agency is going to be very, very quiet, because look at LeBron James is locked up. Kevin Durant is locked up. Luka is locked up. It's going to be Kyrie Irving out there in the open market. It's going to be a James Harden out there in the open market. But Kyrie Irving is probably going to sign an extension with the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden, I don't know. I'm not sure. He may sign a max contract if the Brooklyn Nets will have enough money to have him. They'll have to figure it out, but they could also give him max money. So they just won't have a lot of money on the books to sign any other free agents. But I get a sneaking suspicion out of those three. I feel like James Harden will probably move on elsewhere and sign a max contract. But like I said, I feel like next year, a lot of teams are not going to, that money is not going to be out there. When you look at Kawhi Leonard, he signed a 1-year extension, and with all reports, they're saying that he's going to sign a max contract with the Clippers next season. All right. They got Reggie Jackson on a 2-year deal with the Clippers. They have already locked up Paul George. Kawhi Leonard is really not going anywhere because the Clippers is essentially his team. Now, there have been reports that suggest that, he probably could go to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't see that in the cards. He's not going to play second fiddle to Luka. All right. So that's that's all I got on the Dennis contract. Well, with Dennis, hope it works out for him. I don't think it's going to work out the way he wants it to work out, but hey, it is what it is. Now, to Luka Doncic. Okay, so Luka signed a supermax contract with the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, and that locks him up. Okay, with most of his prime. Even when this contract is up, he's still going to have some more prime years waiting. And like I said earlier, when you look at the next evolution of superstars, when you look at Giannis, Luka, when you look at even though Kevin Durant is a little older, Kyrie Irving's a little older, they're still in that particular wave. They're the next ones. They're already locked up, and they're not going anywhere. So these are probably the players that a lot of teams would move the salaries around to have enough cap space to sign these type of players. All right, I feel like LeBron James, even at his advanced, even though he's a much older player, he can still command a lot of money on the open market if he became a free agent. Okay, so don't get it twisted nor confused. And we're not even talking about the Zion Williamses. Okay, he's going to have to be taken care of. All right, even Ben Simmons, he's going to have to be taken care of. Joel Embiid is going to have to be taken care of. So there's another wave of younger superstars, even Dame Dollar. But I feel like most of those guys I just mentioned are going to probably stay with their teams. Okay, but Luka is locked in. He's not really, and when his contract is up, he still will have some prime years left. And knowing Mark Cuban, he loves Luka. Luka's really not going anywhere. The relationship between Mark Cuban and Luka, they're besties, and he trusts Mark. Mark trusts him, and Mark has given him everything: the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe. It's his team. He gave him a new coach, so there's no betrayal there. That relationship is not going to turn sour anytime soon. And he's gonna stay committed with. He's definitely a Dallas a Maverick for life. Okay, so that's all I got for the Luka Doncic deal. I was gonna talk about Ben Simmons, but I'll do that on another video. It's your boy, the host with the most. I'm up out of here. Deuces.